Coming up on Mountain News this morning, one sheriff's office is staying alert as they train for an active shooter drill. And one town is working to fix a wastewater management issue.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6:30 on Monday, June 10th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. We're waking up at least from Hazard down into the Cumberland Valley. Quick, get Tim some more coffee. Early on this Monday morning, visibilities are about a mile or less in a lot of locations. Up to the north, though, Moorhead, Jackson to Prestonsburg, things are A-OK. And temperature-wise this morning, we're in the 50s, lower 60s toward Monticello and Jacksboro. Upper 40s, though, as you look back toward Clintwood, 52 Jonesville. It's a warmer 58 in Pikeville. All right, satellite radar composite, just a few clouds dotting the skies. We've gone through the last few hours. Cloud cover issues further to the north, though. And this disturbance will be dropping down into eastern and southern Kentucky as well as the Virginias as we head through today, with the risk of a pop-up shower or thunder shower. Not all of us will see that as you can look at the 12-hour forecast for today, because it's going to be sunny to partly cloudy and we'll get up to a high of 77 in Hazard. I'll go get more coffee and get ready to show you the first Alert 70 forecast. That's coming up in a few moments. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. There's new information on a case involving a Kentucky murder suspect. Stephen Xianzhang is accused of killing Scott County Deputy Caleb Conley a year ago during a traffic stop on I-75. He's pleaded not guilty in that case. Last month, he pleaded guilty to burglary and assistant felony offender charges in a separate case in northern Kentucky. He's set to be sentenced on those charges today. Xianzhang faces 10 to 20 years. Prosecutors are calling it an insurance policy pending several other cases in at least 3 other Kentucky counties. Today, a federal judge will hear arguments in Lexington about Title IX protections. The case is based on a complaint of a West Virginia high school female athlete. Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, Virginia, and West Virginia have joined in the suit along with the U.S. Department of Education. The debate is tied to the Biden administration's changed definition of sex and Title IX requirements to include gender identity. Those changes are set to go into effect on August 1st. If a judge agrees with the plaintiffs, it would put the administration's changes on hold while the case makes its way through the courts. Preparing for an emergency or crisis is critical for first responders. The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office held an active shooter training yesterday in Somerset. The training was at Northern Middle School and involved the Advanced Law Enforcement Rapid Response Training, also known as ALERT. Sergeant Alex Wesley from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office says the training lets all of the departments come and learn together. So if an active aggressor threat arises, they would all be on the same page.
Very important that all law enforcement agencies are on the same page. That way everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's doing the same tactics, everybody's doing the same communication, and know the same acronyms that we use.
The ALERT training will continue this week and wrap up tomorrow. Last week, Pikeville police were notified of a car break-in on 2nd Street. The victims reported several items were stolen as a result. We ask officials with the Pikeville Police Department what you can do to prevent these types of crimes from happening to you.
Just make sure that you don't park your vehicles in unlit areas. If at all possible, if you can park somewhere where there is cameras, do that. Make sure you always lock your vehicle. Don't leave any items in plain view where somebody can see it from outside the vehicle. Cell phones, laptops, game systems, anything of value, just don't leave it out.
The investigation is still ongoing, and officials with Pikeville Police ask you to call 606-437-5111 if you have any tips that help with the investigation. In Louisville, leaders are kicking off an initiative to curb violence across the city. The Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods hosted its Safe Summer Kickoff on Saturday. Neighborhood nonprofits were each given $5,000 to host events. Organizers say the goal is to give the community safe activities and resources starting at a young age.
Rebuilding lives and trying to help people feel better about their community, unprecedented violence in the city, trying to do something to curb that. So.
The Safe Summer Kickoff is in its third year. Events were hosted across 10 Louisville neighborhoods. Officials in Jenkins are working to fix issues with the wastewater treatment plant. WYMT's RJ Johnson spoke with City Mayor on how they are working to resolve them.
The City of Jenkins released this statement to the community, showing the city's efforts in helping fix issues with the wastewater treatment plant.
The wastewater treatment plant's probably 30, 35 years since it's been any kind of major renovations or work done on it.
Mayor Todd DePriest says it is causing several problems, including its infiltration and inflow system.
We've got two I&I projects that we're going to do to try to locate and fix those pieces. The second is building capacity at the plant, and that will help build capacity at the plant because we don't have to deal with that water. But upgrading the plant and building capacity with housing developments that we're talking about.
However, it cannot be done without the funding.
It's a big project, so there's no one funding source or one pool of money that takes care of it.
Adding they are applying for several grants to help fix the issues.
So we're building what I call a funding stack, taking different pieces, different grants from different organizations and putting it together to make the project get finished.
Saying they hope to get things done quickly.
It's a big deal for us to be able to do that and get that fixed in a way that we don't have to deal with it every month and along the year. But then that helps us build the capacity to be able to serve other developments, whatever type they might be.
However, once being awarded funding, there are several phases they must go to before completion. In Jenkins, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
DePriest says there are other projects they are working on in the city, including homes for flood survivors and the trail connecting the amphitheater to the Pine Mountain Trail. This month is Men's Health Month, and it is important to know while anyone can experience depression or anxiety, men often tend to push off seeking help when needed. Doctors with the Cleveland Clinic say it is important for men to recognize when there is a problem and to start taking steps to help. But a lot of men tend to push off seeking that help, especially when it's needed.
Oftentimes we see men kind of escape from whatever it is that's bothering them. So whether it's more time at work or losing themselves in some sort of project or watching sports or something like that, but to an unhealthy level where they're kind of ignoring whatever the problem is.
He says there are some ways for men to keep their mental health in check. He says you can try writing, seeking a mental health professional, or talking to a family member or friend that you feel comfortable sharing things with. Kentucky's Secretary of State Michael Adams received an award for bravery in politics. On Sunday, the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation awarded him with the 2024 Profile and Courage Award. It recognizes public servants who risk their careers by putting the public interest ahead of their political standings. During his acceptance speech, Secretary Adams acknowledged his success in his efforts for fair elections and his work to expand voting rights in the Commonwealth. He says the meaning of the award is especially important in today's political climate.
I'm glad that the JFK Library Foundation acknowledges and incentivizes political courage because it may be needed now more than ever before. I would like to think I've been given this award to celebrate a happy ending and to mark an example others should follow in order to keep the American experiment in self-government alive.
During his speech, Adams said he was honored to be recognized besides previous recipients of the award, including U.S. Presidents Gerald Ford, George H.W. Bush, and Barack Obama.
And a good Monday morning to you. Visibilities are running a little low. Cumberland Valley over toward Jonesville and into northern portions of Tennessee, so keep that in mind. North of Jackson and Hazard, you're A-OK. And temperature-wise, we're in the 50s for many locations. Clintwood still at 49 and still running 61 at Monticello and Jacksboro. Just a few clouds over the last few hours. We got a disturbance that is dropping down. You kind of know the fire, Joe, with this pattern. The fog burns off by about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we're left with a lot of sunshine with the risk of a pop-up shower or thunder shower. Have you had any complaints about this weather pattern, though? It's felt great. We should be in the lower 80s for highs in eastern Kentucky. We're topping out this afternoon at 77. Guess what? We'll get back to the lower 80s, and then we'll get higher than the lower 80s. What does that mean? Yeah, the heat and humidity are coming back. Details with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in the next half hour. All right, Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Tim, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:41. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Israel rejoices as 4 of the hostages taken by Hamas on October 7th are rescued and returned home.